the lowlanders, the Dutch, the Belgians are always, you know, the riders from north France. They're all very good at doing it. But James Knox was there, so it's a case of being in the right place at the right time and having the experience of. I would think that Kaiser, James Knox, just follow him. Just follow me, stay around me, and you know, you'll be fine, and that's what you have to do.
Into Taranto, and you talked about the lowlanders being good in the winds. Netherlands riders and those from Flanders are former stage winners in Taranto. Piet van Est in 1961 from the Netherlands won a stage here. And Albert van Vlierbergen in 1967 also took victory for Belgium. The last winner we had when we had a stage finish here, big sprinter, the Lion King himself, Mario Cipollini, 23 years ago. And what a spectacular view it is in Taranto. Guided by the Spartans, as you can see. Back in the ages of empires and the likes of the Venetians and Romans, Ottomans ruling this area, the Mediterranean and most of the world. These ports were hugely important. It does have an Istanbul type feel to it when you look at it from the air there, with the different looks over the different side, the stretches of water and ports in the middle. Not quite a bridge over two continents though.
There's a little bit of interest coming up in just over a kilometre's time, where we have the points sprints. Sagan and Demar will be battling that one out.
Yep, 12 points for the first over the line. I think it goes down to 8 after that. There we go. 6 points will be available. So 12 and 8 taken by these two, if they keep the 7-second gap. And then 6 points in the next. Now, there's a bit of a difference now, isn't there, in the Maglia Ciclamino? 39 points separate Arnaud Demar and Peter Sagan. Fraporti on 20 in this classification already.
You can think if Demar beats Sagan in this sprint and then in the intermediate sprinting at the finish, then it's going to be you know, a big contest for Sagan to gain as many points back, because it's not like the Tour de France where there's kind of bigger points in the intermediates.
Yeah, only 12 points here at the first intermediate and no points in the second intermediate. Makes it much more about the finishes, doesn't it, in the Giro d'Italia than at the Tour. This is Simon Pullo, who's going to take the maximum points. 12 points to Pullo, 8 points going to Fraporti. Fraporti moving up to 28 points now. Oh, we've had a crash behind. We've had a crash behind. We knew that it was going to be nervous all day. And we can see, I think, problems for Kelderman. There is Van Hoeken. Oh, already caught out. And he's involved in the crash here.
Fulsang.
He's just been taken back to the peloton at the moment, Fulsang. This is how it happened, Brian.
Yeah, it was about a third of the way down, just a touch of wheels, and you know, this happened. That's just hardness setting in as well. It was just a third of the way down the peloton, and it causes a reaction towards the back.
Well, the rider's being caught out and to chase on, but at least not going down. But I know that there was an issue for 3 Sunweb riders. You can see Van Hoeken caught out in the white jersey there, having to adjust mechanically to make sure everything was all right. He got help straight away from Thomas Agent, to be fair. Experienced head, went straight to him. And this is the chase back on. He has John Dibben in front of him, wearing number 1, 2, 3. And at the front, Harm Van Hoeken has, guess who? Thomas Agent, motoring him back to the bunch. Not a good time, though, given what's going to happen up ahead again once we're into the wind, you imagine.
No, just we should be looking at this sprint, and Fulsang being helped by the Lotto Soudal car, which makes a big difference, because if the Lotto Soudal guys had been behind the car, they might have got a fine. So, yeah, the Lotto Soudal car helping Fulsang, and of course helping their own riders as well.
185 in there for Sunweb. Is Hindley going fairly well in the general classification as well, winner of the Herald Sun Tour this year. At the front, things calm down.
Yeah, but hopefully we'll get a replay of the sprint, because of the crash there, we didn't get anything of that sprint.
UAE Emirates riders up the front, VL, which suggests that Gaviria wasn't too far away. This is what's happening up the road. And we've lost all sort of control of time gaps and things like that. We will endeavour to get it back. Here we go. Elia Viviani winning that sprint ahead of Arnaud Demar. We get the results before we've even seen it. So Demar picking up one more point on Sagan. That means now it's a 40-point lead for Arnaud Demar over Peter Sagan. Viviani showing a bit of form. That's good news going forward, isn't it?
I think that's a little bit of a confidence booster more than anything, because you know he's so far behind in that competition. I know there's a long way to go, but I think going for that sprint, I think he's been told go for this sprint, a little bit of confidence booster. And I know that maybe the other riders are not going full gas, but you know that'll give him confidence going in, and the fact that he made the front group as well will give him confidence going into this final.
21 seconds for Simon Poulot and Marco Frapporti. Well, things start to calm down a little behind. Question is, for how long? That was the crash. It was a Cofidis rider, I think, going down. But a Cofidis rider took the biggest points in the sprint in Elia Viviani with 6 there after the breakaway. Off for a quick break. Don't go away. For those of you watching on our digital platforms, able to watch uninterrupted. Thanks for your company. You can also see the breakaway this evening, who has a special guest tonight. Connor Dunn will be along to join Brian, Dan and Orla. Remember to watch that on your GCN Race Pass or the Eurosport player.
Is the studio big enough for him? Might have to move the cameras back a little bit.
Budge up on the sofa.
Yeah, I might have to sit upright as well.
There's not that much of a difference, is there? Or
He's
do you look like a borrower compared to Connor?
He's a tall lad.
Look forward to hearing from him later on. So, Van Hooker's back. Fulsang is back. Second scare of the day for both of them. Certainly a stressful day mentally, this as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think everybody says that all the Grand Tours the first week are always so stressful, and you know, add in the wins, it just makes it even more stressful. But it's exactly the same for everybody, and everybody knew when they woke up this morning what was coming. You know, it's not a surprise to anybody. None of the teams, they knew what was coming. But still we get this exciting racing, and you know, riders not in the right position, and of course not everybody can be at the front. You know, I'm surprised that, you know, a few riders that have been missed out, but when it started, I couldn't believe how far back Simon Yates was.
If you're a sports director here, after those initial errors, what is the message when we come out of town in Taranto? Because they know the wind's going to blow again. You can just look. Just look at how exposed everything is. There's no hill in sight here. As soon as they leave town, it's going to be coming from the side.
Same message as you do in the team meeting. Exactly the same. Stay at the front. Watch these. There'll be riders that they'll say can I follow. One of them being Elio Kausa. When was the last time Elio Kausa kind of messed up in cross wins? It's not that often. He's probably one of the instigators. So just watch these riders, stay towards the front. Just go on Duconi Quickstep. Of course, everybody will be told the same thing, but you switch off, then you're in the wrong part of the bunch when the crosswind happens. So it'll be the same message as they got this morning. Ride towards the front, make sure the GC contender or the sprinter is near the front, and don't, you know, it's all about, everybody thinks that cycling, it's all about, you know, the physical side of things, but the mental side, and that's where the sports director will come in.
In any sport, isn't it?
Yeah, and more sports than others. You know, mental torture. I think of tennis when I think of that, because you're in the centre court and you get you're on your own for, you know, 4 hours. You're not getting any outside help, but at least you're getting a little bit of help here from the sports director to keep on G'ing up the riders.
It's bubbling up again on stage 7 of the Giro d'Italia. We left Matera and all of its stunning architecture and ancient history. What is it now? 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers ago. We have 71 kilometers to the finish in Brindisi. The riders are just leaving the town of Taranto. We've had an intermediate sprint. 2 riders have gone up the road again, but they only have 21 seconds. The big problem today is the wind. We've had splits in it already. Van Hooker, Yates, Pozzovivo caught out. To a lesser extent, we had Bilbao, Fulsang as well, alongside Rafael Majka and Patrick Conrad. But it's all back together now, bar around 60 riders who are further off the back. Nobody in terms of the favourites are there. Now we're looking for it all to start again, though, and it's as if you do an extra sketch, start the stage again, but this time riders will not want to make the same mistake.
It's a little bit easier because you've got 60 riders less, just a little bit easier, because if you get 60 more riders in the mix, it's a little bit more difficult to stay near the front. But like we saw earlier, as soon as it goes into the crosswinds, it'll split into 3 or 4 groups, and you want to be in that front group, so you can't switch off.
Well, we just saw the intermediate sprint with that chaos of the crash in town in Taranto. A second problem of the day for Harm van Hooker and Jakob Fulsang. They both got back on again. But whilst we saw that crash, there was an intermediate sprint, and there was a bit of a confidence boost for the man we're going to hear from now. Let's hear from Elia Viviani from Cofidis, who's yet to still win for his new team.
Siamo qui adesso con...
Oh, we're here with Elia Viviani. Yesterday you took the right decision. You chose not to do the sprint and save energy for today.
Sì, è ovvio che questo sono scelte tattiche che poi vedremo se pagano o no, però sono delle occasioni che è giusto farle ed è giusto provare a fare così. Oggi è totalmente piatta, ci sarà del vento,
today it's completely flat and it's going to be windy, there'll be a few attacks I think as well. So we're all going to be ready for it.